Good evening, Africa. Good evening, African Confessions. I am back with another episode. The following message that you are going to be listening to comes from a translation. Let us get into the episode. The message reads like this. My brother, all that I wanted, I just wanted my husband to stop seeing this woman, but I never knew that the things that I did will end up in the death of my husband and that woman. It was hurting me each and every time when I would think that my husband was going to dump me for this other woman. My husband was about to have another baby with that woman. So I had to take a decision. All that I wanted to do, my brother, I am not a murderer. All that I wanted to do was to protect my marriage. I have tried to go around looking for help, but my brother, I have failed to get help. That is why I have come to you. Maybe you will be able to assist me. My brother, what I did is that I fell in love with this man. From the day that he said that he loved me, I knew that he was a married man, and he did not lie to me that he was married. He told me that he was a married man, and I didn't even care. It was in 2002 when I started to date this man, as married as he was, and already he had 2 kids of his own, a boy and a girl. When I started dating this guy, I tried by all means to pressurize him because I had fallen in love with him. I wanted to be his second wife, but he said that it was not possible for me to become his wife because he doesn't want to have 2 wives. I was just his side chick. We were never going to get married. When I finally realized that this man didn't love me, he just wanted to waste my time, I was deeply hurt. So I went, then I consulted someone, and I was given some herbs, and I was given an instruction on how I was supposed to use those herbs. After I had used those herbs on that man, it didn't even take a long time. I was already staying with that man as husband and wife. He then quickly divorced his own wife, and he went with me to my family, and he paid my bride price. So we stayed for many years, and then I realized that God was failing to give us a child. I was afraid that if I could not give my husband a child, maybe he was going to take another woman. And also I had forced my husband to take his kids so that I can stay with him, because I didn't want my husband to go and to see his baby mama. But then I saw that my husband's ex-wife kept on going to court because she was fighting for the custody of her children, but I didn't want to give her children back. So I went back to that man whom I had consulted before. Then that man gave me some herbs. He told me how I was supposed to use those herbs. He said to me, when you will be going to court, you are supposed to use these herbs in such a way. And that is exactly what I did. The day that we were supposed to go to court fighting for the custody of our children, I took those herbs and we won that case. But after we had won that case, that woman, my husband's ex-wife, approached me and she tried to tell me how she had met my husband, but I didn't even bother to listen to her because I just said to myself that this is just a jealous woman, and I had beaten her in this competition. The husband is mine, your kids are mine, so what else can you tell me? I returned back home with my husband. Brother Nashi, me and my husband, we stayed together for about 10 years, and my husband was an honest man. Even though we had stayed together in this marriage for many years without having any kids of our own, but still he remained true to me and he never cheated on me. But after 10 years, maybe the stress of not me being able to give him a child finally affected him, because I started to see that he was changing. There were so many changes in my marriage, and I could see that my husband never loved to spend time with me anymore, especially during holidays. My husband will just plan a journey, and on this journey he'll just plan it by himself, and he would make sure that he would avoid to go with me wherever he would tell me that he was going. Some weekends he was no longer sleeping at home. When I saw that the pattern kept on repeating itself, I immediately knew that something was fishy, something was wrong, because my husband was acting out of character. So I did my research and I was right. My husband was cheating on me. He was cheating on me with his ex-girlfriend, that same woman that his ex-wife had tried to tell me whilst we were at court, but I had just ignored that ex-wife, thinking that she was just a jealous woman. Now I had seen it with my own eyes. My husband had gone back to his ex-girlfriend. And Brother Nashi, to make matters even worse, this ex-girlfriend and my husband, they had a child together. When I heard that they had a child together, my heart was shattered, because I looked at my own situation and I realized that I had failed to give my husband another child. There was a deep wound that developed in my heart, because I looked at my husband, I looked at my husband's kids, and I had treated them very well, because to me they were my own kids, because God had failed to give me a child. So I took these kids as if they were my own kids. I truly loved them, but their father had turned around and stabbed me in the back. I don't know, maybe this is what forced me to do what I did in the end. Maybe it was just a protective instinct that had risen in my heart, a protective instinct to protect my marriage, to protect my children, and to protect my husband, because I was afraid that if my husband and I get a divorce, I was going to lose these kids that I loved so much. Jealousy pushed me to anger when I heard through gossip that my husband was the one who was helping this ex-girlfriend of his to finish up the house that she was building, and people told me that already this girlfriend was pregnant for my husband, and I had had enough. I just had to put a stop to this. So I went back to that man. I made a consultation with him. He gave me more herbs, and he told me that I was supposed to find a picture of my husband's ex-girlfriend. So I did that, and I went back to that man holding my husband's ex-girlfriend's picture, and I gave that man that picture. Then he said to me, buy some needles. Then I bought some needles. That man took one of the needles and he stabbed that woman who was in the picture. He kept on stabbing her with that needle that he was holding in his hand. He then took an egg and he smashed that egg on that picture. Then he said to me, it is done. He gave me further instructions on what I was supposed to do. He gave me some powder and he said to me, woman, return back home, take this powder and prepare tea for your husband, and also put some of this powder into the food that your husband eats. And I returned back home. I was happy because I thought that finally, for the last time, I was going to protect my husband. I was going to protect my family and my children. So I did as I had been instructed. But my brother, but if only I had known that this was just a ritual to kill my husband and his ex-girlfriend, I would never had done that. That ex-girlfriend just died, and also my husband died. Oh, my brother, I don't know what I did. I just thought that maybe I was protecting my marriage. After the death of my husband, I went back to that man. I asked him, I was so angry with him. I asked him, what have you done to me? You have destroyed me. But that old man was surprised when he heard me blaming him for the death of my husband. He then said to me, woman, the first day that you came here, you said that you wanted me to help you to protect your marriage. Is it not what I have done? The next time when you came here, you said that your husband was cheating on you. My child, was it not you who said that you are afraid of a heartbreak? Then I replied and I said, yes, I was afraid that my husband was going to leave me and he was going to stay with his ex-girlfriend. Then that old man said to me, you see, so I did everything that was in my power to protect you. For me to protect you, these two people were supposed to die because your husband was going to dump you and you were going to have a heartbreak. Be happy, my child, because now that your husband is dead, did he not leave all of his wealth in your hands? And I said, yes. Then he said to me, my daughter, I knew that your husband was going to dump you and you were going to suffer because he was going to take all of his wealth. He was going to leave you with nothing. Be happy, my daughter. Go back to your home and have peace. But I don't have any peace at all because sometimes I can see my husband. He will be very angry at me. Then his face will change and I'll see that now it will be my husband's ex-girlfriend. Then she will fight with me. She will hit me on my private parts. Oh, my brother, I am suffering. Now I have a problem. The problem that I am facing right now is that sometimes blood can just come out of my nose, and the blood that comes out of my nose, sometimes it will be so much and I don't even know where this blood is coming from. The way that it flows, it will be so much. It is like it's not even human blood. There was this other day, the blood started to flow from my nose. So I took a 20-liter bucket. But by the end of the day, my brother, if I tell you that I almost filled up that 20-liter bucket with my own blood, oh, my brother, I have suffered. All of my money, I have spent it on traditional healers trying to fix this problem, but I can't. I once went to this traditional healer. That traditional healer charged me a lot of money. At the end of the day, he gave me porcupine quills and he said that whenever blood flows from my nose, I am supposed to take one of the porcupine quills that he gave me, then I burn it. Then I'll use the ash to rub it on my face. Some of it, I then push it in my nose, but it is not working. With the money that I have spent, all of this is not working, my brother. It was never my intention for my husband to die. All that I wanted to do was to protect my marriage, or my brother. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received from Anonymous. Then one of our admins had to translate it for us. Let us meet again in the following episodes.